today we'll be picking the olives from the trees. So as you can see, this is one of the olive trees that I have. So this is 3 years old and it's filled with olives. So we have all these very beautiful green olives. They're actually quite small, quite tiny, but it doesn't matter. And now slowly, as we are approaching mid-October, let's see if it gets into focus. Yes, there it is. It's turning black or purple. Do you see that? And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to actually get the purple ones because they are the darker the color of the olives are, the less saltier they are, and the more fruitier they are. So I'm going to, for this tree at least, I'm going to just go for the really dark ones. And that's just one of the trees, and I already started actually just getting some of them, and then I will show you around how I go to the other trees. So I just thought I'd show you how I'm collecting the olives. As you can see, this tray is almost full, but I still have loads and loads and loads in the tree, and it seems to be it's actually quite a tricky thing. Now I know why in Greece or in Italy they actually have the rake to shake the tree, because there is just plenty, and you can hardly just pick them by hand. But I'm still trying, and like I said, that I'm just getting through the the darker ones. So I'm not actually picking the green ones, which I will do maybe later, I don't know, or maybe I'll just leave them on the tree for another couple of weeks until they are dark as well, and then harvest them. Just wanted to show you how it is. So that's the tree, yeah. And this is the other tree, which is also filled with olives. I'm not sure if you can see them, but I'm just going to go around, and maybe now you can see them, as you see. So I can just go and get the darker ones. I'm just laughing because this is unbelievable, the amount of olives I've got. And so this is of course high time to take them and add them to the tray, and then I will show you what I'm going to do with them. Now this one is a different variety. I just wanted to show you because these are huge olives. They almost look like huge raisins. So, and this one is filled too. So you can see loads and loads and loads of olives, the huge ones. I have to check the names of the varieties, but I'm going to get them, and these are going to be treated separately. I wanted to show you this tree. So this is the same variety that I've been picking from the other trees. So really big olives, but look at the size of this tree. This is just 2 years old. So if I stand next to it, I'm just going to show you. You see, it comes up to my knees, and you will not believe the number of olives that are on this tree. It's absolutely packed. It's packed. And now of course after harvesting, so I'm going to get all of the olives, and after harvesting I can prune it, because there are some branches this tree needs some training and some pruning. So I'll show you that later. So apparently what we need to do, and this is something that I just searched over on the internet, because I was not sure, this is the first year I'm doing this, is that once you have your olives, you need to slit them on one side. So score them, actually, just take a paring knife and score on one side and the other side, because they're very bitter. And then you need to take jars and put them in and fill them up with water. And once you fill them up with water, you need to keep changing this water every single day. So the olives need to be rinsed for 20 days. That's what's told. I'm going to try it out and let you know how it turns out. And while I'm doing this highly therapeutic work of scoring each olive, I find this quite meditative and restful. So all that I'm doing is I'm taking each olive, and these are really small, and scoring it on one side and then on the other. And I suppose it's to let the bitterness out into the water, which is why also you need to change the water every day. Kind of makes sense. And it's interesting, this is the first year that I'm actually doing the olives, The trees are relatively young in this garden, so they haven't been here for a long time. In fact, the first tree that I had shown you was one of the first ones that I had planted, one of the first olive trees to be planted here, and that's 3 years old. But then when I bought it, it was already about that high, and now it's let's see, it's about 2 meters. But within 3 years, it's produced so many olives. I'm really blessed. And this is an olive area, right? So all around the Mediterranean, that's where you have olives. You pick them, you harvest them. People have been growing this for thousands of years, and also harvesting them and eating them. So whether you eat them just as olives, or you press them to take the oil, which is a major part of Mediterranean cooking. These have been around for a very long time, although I think, as far as I remember, that the first trees, or the more the area where they have many more trees, are towards the eastern part of the Mediterranean. That's what I remember reading. And in this part, the olive trees were brought in, so they are not indigenous to this area actually. So what is indigenous in this area are oaks. It seems a bit surprising, because you would think that oaks belong to the northern countries, and they do. This is a different kind of oak, the one that has the one that has the cork. So when you harvest the trunk of the oak, which is how you harvest cork, is you kind of just take off layers of the bark, and then you dry it in the sun, and that's the cork. So these trees are everywhere. So this is actually the local tree that's in this area. But it's interesting to observe all the different kinds of flora and fauna that are just so different from different regions, and that's always a good sign if you ever want to create your own green space, is to see what's actually growing locally. Because the moment you can do that, and you can identify that this is the tree that does very well in this area because it is from here, then you can be pretty sure that it's going to grow very well in your garden. So that's always a good measuring point. At least that's how I see it. To have a flourishing garden, so be it in flowers, or even in trees. That's how I go by, because I think that if you have the trees that grow locally, success is guaranteed, because that's where they feel at home. And we as gardeners, or as custodians of pieces of land that have been entrusted to us, we have to make sure that every living creature that comes, whether it's a plant or an animal, feels at home, because that's when they're happiest. And isn't that our mission, to create and to spread more happiness in this world? And a lot of people are already doing that, and a lot of people do it consciously, a lot of people do it unconsciously, but it's an ongoing expansion of our consciousness. Yeah, so I just wanted to also tell you a little bit about what I have been doing in the garden in the last week, because now the extreme heat of summer is gone. Thank God for that. Because although I like all seasons and I absolutely love summer, it is definitely a time when the garden suffers. There is hardly any water. In fact, I lost a couple of my plants this year. That's just the way it is. And there's hardly any water, and lots and very, very, very extreme heat. So extremely hot, relentless, absolutely relentless sun. And so I lost a couple of them. But now now we had some cool days and nights, which are the more important ones, so that the nights are cooler, the air cools down. And oh, I can hear a bit of rain now. And so what is good about this is that everything calms down, cools down. I'm sorry about the sound of the plane as well. This is very loud and very unusual. Normally we don't hear this. It depends on the clouds, I suppose. And we have very low clouds now. So what I have been doing is I've been taking some cuttings. So I took some hardwood cuttings of roses, and the roses that I want to propagate, the ones that I want to plant either in this garden, or if I move then to another garden. And so I took cuttings of my favorite roses, the ones that are perfumed, and the old English roses. I know you're not supposed to do that for sale purposes, but if you just do it for your own, that's should be fine, I hope. So all that I did was to look for the branches which are going to carry next year's flowers, and then cut them above a node. And then, you know, there is a way that you can so you basically need to the part that's going to go in, the parts that's going to root, you need to cut right below a leaf node, and then the part that's going to grow up or is out of the soil, so the top part, you have to cut above the node. No, wait a minute. No, that's below as well. So basically what you want is that if let us say if that's the stem that you have cut for the hardwood cutting, so you need to make sure that you have some nodes here, because that's where the growth is going to come. And so you cut right below that, and that goes pop that into the soil. And the one on the top, just like you would prune a rose anyway, so you put a slanting top, first of all, to prevent the water from collecting there. And then you should have a node that grows sideways, such that the plant has a chance to grow. So that's what I did for a lot of my roses. So I took some hardwood cuttings, and then I also started to replant one of the cut flower areas, because I'm now pretty sure that I'm not going to grow cut flowers for commercial purposes. I mean, I can of course grow them for the house and to give to friends, but that's a different thing. I don't need the scale. And originally I still have, as you can see, 4 different cut flower beds just specifically for cut flowers. And this year, at least this autumn, what I'm doing is that I'm clearing out these beds one by one and making sure that I have a variety of plants and not just cut flowers, because that's not a sustainable way that I want to go forward. And so instead of going out and buying lots of plants, because this is a very big garden, and this is a great time to go around and to look which plants have given off little shoots, and which plants are developing baby plants. So you don't actually need to go to the garden nursery or to the garden center and start buying stuff. So just walk around in your garden and see what's happening. And so that's what I did, and I ended up, actually, you will not believe, with a tree, and that's a robinia. So I have a robinia at the entrance of the big entrance of the house, and while I was clearing up the bottom, and then I saw another little baby robinia that was about that high. So I dug that up. That's going to be a tree, and it's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful tree. And if I can train it right, it grows straight, and then it has a globe crown. So it's really beautiful. And so I took that, and then I went around and I found 2 pennies that were not doing all that well. I guess it's they didn't really like where they were. And so this is a great time to move the pennies as well, you know. So any sorry. So any Coco heard something. She needs to defend us. So any pennies or any plants that need to be moved, this is a great time to do this, because they are going to move into the dormant season, and so they have a time to actually take roots and go to bed, go to sleep, and then once spring comes, when the growth starts, then they have a good base to begin. So this is a good time to move shrubs and things around. And I also moved some shrubs from areas where they were very congested, because I tend to always plant very close. It's one of the things I do, because I think plants, like human beings, like to have company. And I know it's not a good gardening practice, and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but I like to do it because that's just the way I think and feel. And sometimes when they get too crowded, then I have to go in and dig up one and move it aside and take it to somewhere more suitable, where it has a little more space to grow, and that's fine. And so that's the other thing that I did. One of the other jobs that I have to get done quite quickly, in fact, is to get my tulips and all the spring bulbs in the ground. Now, I was not sure if I was going to do that, because last year I had dug up the tulips from this year I had dug up the tulips from last year after they had finished, and I made the mistake of storing them actually in the greenhouse. And that was a mistake, because the greenhouse got very hot in summer, and so the bulbs actually dried out. So I don't think, I mean, I will put them in the ground. I'm going to rehydrate them first, just put them in buckets of water before I put them in the ground, and then hope for the best. But I did order for more tulips and some ranuncs as well, because I absolutely love ranunculus. I think they are one of the prettiest flowers in spring. And so that's the one job that I need to get done before before the weather turns cold. Well, it actually never turns cold here, not really, but nevertheless, that's something that I need to get done. So while we've been talking, you see I have my jar almost full. I'm going to just put a couple more and then put some water in and put it in a nice place, and then keep changing the water every day for 20 days, 15 to 20 days, that's what they say, but I'll do it for 20, and then they should be good. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a good week. Bye bye.